Okay. Had to switch over to my phone because my camera crapped out. Looks like my battery is going bad in my camera. Anyhow, this is going to be a motorcycle video on a article I wrote um, for the Go Wing Road Riders, and I don't know if the article's been out yet or not, but anyhow, it's a good article, and thought I'd do a video because I can reach more people that way with it too. Okay, the article's about called offensive driving. Offensive driving. Let's break it down. The first to act: preventive driving, reducing the risk of crashes by anticipating actions of others. Proactive driving. The name offensive driving brings up many negative ideas in people's minds, and it should be changed to proactive driving. I've been thinking and working on this article for quite a while, and it does have a place in motorcycle riding. Some people say I may have opened up a can of worms, but if I didn't, somebody else would have. The word defensive is to react after somebody has reacted. Offensive or proactive is to react before the other person in a vehicle does something deadly to you. In reaction time, offensive will always be quicker than defensive in reaction times. I ride in an area that is considered the 5th highest fatality rate in America caused by bad drivers. There's not a place in the world that people don't have bad drivers or run red lights and problems like that. A certain crappy town I do not like to drive through. It's a good sized town, but the locals are so bad on driving that they even stop for green lights. And that's the truth. That same local town, 6 motorcyclists have been killed by left-hand people doing left-hand turns and not looking, running over these people. And the 7th person, when they hit them, they took their leg off. And that's bad when the vehicles don't pay attention. I have a CDL from a top 5 school in America. I graduated top of the class, 2 professional driving courses, and 2 pro training systems. So I have some stuff behind me, and I do, whenever I can, get more training from the GWRRA when I can. Most people don't know it, but emergency service drivers and police use offensive driving every day. But for us, an offensive driver or proactive driver isn't an aggressive driver by any means. Another definition is to keep your bike in a safe place and moving it to avoid crashes. Emergency services use different means to be offensive or proactive. By being highly visible, bright colors, reflective striping, flashing lights, by being heard, loud sirens, horns. Another technique is a drive towards the center of the lane, and that is the increase the ability to be seen in both the left and right hand lane, or both lanes of the traffic. Police park in highly visible areas to be seen. Bus drivers are now blocking both lanes of traffic to stop people from passing either lane for protection of school children. By now you're getting an idea where I'm going with this article. Wearing neon fluorescent riding gear, see and be seen. Bright motorcycle colors is good too. Reflective striping or reflectors on motorcycles. Flashing or bright headlights. Loud pipes is a technique. I myself don't care for that, but that is a technique. Using the horn often. They do now have horns that will work on motorcycles that are 130 decibel. Signaling the other driver. Flashing headlights. I use this in highway traffic. Signal the car beside me that won't pass, or tailgaters. I use riding gloves that are fluorescent or highly visible, red, white, colors like that. If a guy is riding or driving too close behind me, I get their attention and, get off my butt, get back. If a car pulls up beside me and doesn't pass, I get their attention by either waving or knocking on their window saying, get down the road, get out of my way. That gets them idiots out of my way. That saves me, that protects me. All motorcyclists should do that. And the next thing on the list here is a see and be seen riding attitude. That's something you should do all the time. I like to get away from bad drivers. You can't tell if you see a car swerving, if they're on the telephone, drinking hooch or whatever. I get away from them. That's getting away from an accident and getting away from a possible accident situation. Another technique I use to get people in front of me to know that, hey, I'm back here, is I have a headlight on the front of my motorcycle. And on left and right side of that vehicle in front of me, there'll be mirrors. I can get over and get that light, wiggle that light, and get it into there to where it's, hitting them in the face. That lets them know, hey, I'm back here. Sometimes you have to do that to the people in the passing lane. There's people that do this that run high beam on their headlights all the time. It's extremely good on letting oncoming traffic know that there's a motorcycle ahead, but at night I'm not a fan of it because the new headlights are so good you could really blind somebody. But during the day, there's no problem with it. A technique I do is that when I ride roads, there's 2 lanes where cars, their tires put 2 grooves in the lanes, and I run these lanes and try to stay out of any other part of the road. The reason is these lanes are going to be clean. Any debris, a tire will pick it up and throw it out. Any rocks, stuff like that. Oil will be thrown out. So they're clean areas to ride, and they keep debris from giving you flat tires and stuff like that. And the good part about riding in either one of them spots like that is that when I'm in a group, we ride staggered. That way, in case we come to a stop, you're not running into somebody. You've got plenty of room to stop. But when I'm riding a single, I take that inside lane, which is kind of close to the double lines. That way, I do like what the fire department does, is they ride that middle line, and so that oncoming traffic will have vision of you. Hey, there's a motorcycle up there. They have sight of you. They see you. They know you're there. That helps out. See and be seen. Also, like I said, keeping the crap off your tires and keeping them two tracks are going to be free of a lot of oil. Now the hump in the middle, that's where you'll find the most oil and grease and stuff like that. And I don't ride that hump area that's in between that. Let me get on to the next part. Riding in groups. The groups should be together enough not to allow cars to merge in with the motorcycle group. And you'll see this where people have no idea that a motorcycle group is there to be together, and they want to try to pass and try to get in and try to, I got to hit that next turn. Don't, I pull up and I'll block them. I'll block them from getting in to any member of my group, and then I'm using my fluorescent gloves, and you get your butt down the road and get away from us. And it seems like it happens every time I get on a group ride. A lot of guys that are not trained in that, they will space themselves out, and they get cars in between them. You lose your direction on where you're going. The lead bike, is all of a sudden 3 miles down the road. That's why you need to stay in a group. When you're in a group, stay in a group. Also, if a car is coming over and just keeps doing like that, don't ever get into them. Block them. They're not allowed to get into where the motorcycles are, because a car will do damage to a motorcycle. And that's an important thing right there. And just waving people down the road. You're an accident maker, get out of my way. Approaching traffic lights. Always assume that there will be red light runners. Don't speed off from a green light. That's deadly around that crappy town I was telling you about, because there's one place where on average, it's almost every time you could see it at a red light, there'll be 3 cars just keep going through that, and no cops around. Another thing about that is, you're approaching a traffic light that's green. Always be prepared for it to turn red. Turn yellow, sorry. So that's some DOT stuff there too. That helps out motorcycles. As I talked about earlier, when I'm riding, like for example, we made a run down I-40 going to Birmingham to the it was an antique show put on by the Barber Museum. And people will just pull up beside you. They got to pass you, and then all of a sudden they stop, and they get there and they're even with you. Why are you in the passing lane if you're not getting past me? What I do, I get fluorescent glove, wave at them, get their attention, get down the road. If I can't get their attention, I slide over and I knock on that window. Drives them nuts. Get down the road. You're not going to hurt me. You're not going to run over my bike or my buddy's bike. Got that? Get down the road. And I've had a great success rate in doing that. If you're in that passing lane, I'm telling people to pass. I even do that in my big truck. I've had people pull up there and, pass, and then all of a sudden they stop, and there's a huge line of traffic down them. I'm grabbing that big horn up there. Idiot, move down the road. And that's something to me. I don't want cars around me, because if a car is going to sit there for a while, and I guarantee this will happen, if a car is sitting there beside you, they're going to forget that you're there. And then they're going to merge over into you. I got to hit this next turn. Guess who gets injured? Motorcyclist. That's why people get out of my way. Around me, I'm letting them know that I'm there, and you get out of my way. Okay, on to the next thing. Scanning ahead. The average person looks 20 or 30 feet in front of them. You need to be able to look an eighth, quarter mile down the road and see what's going on. Scanning, looking through traffic, prepares you for what's problems ahead. Everybody sees all these pile-ups in traffic. Well, if you look ahead, you have the ability to not get in a pile-up. And between a motorcycle and a vehicle, the vehicle is going to win. So pay attention. That's also a CDL technique right there, to look way ahead. Leave room between between your motorcycle and driver in front of you. Here's something that's very important. Avoid left turns through and into traffic. It's a technique made famous by the UPS drivers, but this technique is one that every motorcyclist needs to do. Avoiding left turns greatly increases your chances of living. And like I was telling you guys, this idiot town, these guys were making left-hand turns. No cars were making left-hand turns into them. And they're dead. And that was in a period of 2 years, 6 drivers. And it just all of a sudden exploded, happened that all these motorcyclists are getting killed. And we didn't have two motorcyclists killed in 20 years in that town. Look at the vehicles in front of you. If it's slowing down, speeding up, slowing down, stuff like that, that gives you an indication that they're about to do something. They're about to turn. You need to look at what the driver is doing in front of you. If their head is, going, looking at a map or looking at their phone or stuff like that. If you could see their face and look confused or stuff like that, if they may not know the area and they're about to do a panic stop, that's another indication to get away from people at that. Looking at that driver and studying that driver in front of you will give you an idea, do I need to get away from this guy or what? What I call accident makers. Certain vehicles stand out as accident-filled drivers. Me as an over-the-road CDL driver, I see these vehicles carrying loads of inattentive drivers that just don't care. And it's the same vehicles over and over, so it's a pattern. It's a pattern that you can see. And people are going to say I'm picking on certain people. No, I'm not. When you're in a motorcycle, you want to stay alive and have fun on the ride. The Prius drivers, when I was over the road, was just horrible people driving them. I don't know why. The same with minivans. Minivans just crossing lanes and in and out and just doing all sorts of crap. I don't know what's going on. But as a motorcyclist, the Prius and minivans be on the outlook for that. I had a Prius almost take my front end out I was going to Tulsa and going to the drag strip, and a Prius, that road was I-169, and he crossed like 4 lanes of traffic and right in front of me about 2 or 3 feet to hit an exit. Of course, I let him know what I thought of him. But, like I said, and you'll hear this probably from other DOT drivers too. Here's the next thing. If you're in a resort, a vacation area, tourist area, you'll see many out-of-state license tags. They'll have luggage carriers, stuff like that. Their vehicles stand out. They're dangerous because they are not familiar with the area. They're all the time looking for the right exit, and they'll always be in the wrong lane. So they're the ones that will take a chance and cross 5 lanes of full traffic to make that one exit. They're the ones that do that, and they always, quick to make a bad decision. Oh, we need to go that way. Turn immediately. Who needs turn signals? And they make panic stops often. Them are areas that you got to be doubly careful when riding your motorcycle. To me, I say stay away and get away. Get away, stay away, however that works. When I come to a stop, I'm looking in the mirrors a lot to make sure the guy behind me is coming to a stop also. Because they could be on the phone, gabbing, looking at other cars. You do not want to be run into from behind. They have a lot of bulbs now that do the flashing. Sometimes I'll just sit there and, flash my brakes. if I'm concerned about, and it helps. It helps. It's me getting their attention behind me, and that's making me live a longer life, and that's what I'm trying to teach you guys how to do too. Um, if you can get them flashing lights to put into your motorcycle, it's well worth it. Um, Stopping on a highway, you really have to look out for fast approaching traffic and not get caught up in vehicle pileups. Um, the good thing about a motorcycle is that you can pull onto the shoulders, and that is probably the best advice that will save your life right there. Because no matter what, there's always going to be people piling into each other when anybody stops on the highway. Um, that's kind of a given right there. But it's good to tell people about it, because sometimes some people don't think of everything right there. On many highways, there's a parallel running road or a side road running parallel to that road. You may want to jump on that, because you can get down the road, bypass heavy traffic and stuff like that. Me, I like to hit the back roads. I don't want to be in heavy traffic. A big heavy road like I-40. We took I-40 to Birmingham, and I absolutely, I just, I'd rather have a catfish skin or pull my skin off. It was that much fun running I-40, especially when you get near Little Rock. It's an idiot festival of drivers and stopping on highways for no apparent reason. And you won't see an accident, and these people just frickin' stop on the roads. And I have no idea why they do stuff like that. Another part of that is early morning traffic or afternoon traffic. In any big city is going to have that kind of problem. That's where you got to stay away from that stuff. Like I said, the parallel running roads or hitting the roads less traveled. And around here, there's always, back ways to get around stuff and all. I've seen this from a lot of people, especially being a DOT driver. If the vehicle in front of you brakes and then takes off, and then, it's kind of doing confusing things, well, need to get away from them, because they are confused on where they're at. They don't know where their exit is. They don't know which lane to be in. That's the people that need to be away from you and get away from them. That's a good thing about a motorcycle. You have the ability to get away from stuff like that. Like I said earlier about taking the lesser traveled roads, I like the back roads, as long as they're good and well kept up and stuff like that. And it's more fun to take them roads like that. May take a little bit more time getting where you're going, but me, it's taking an interstate highway on a motorcycle is just too much. It's hard to do, but when you're in the turns, you need to look forward and through and around the corners, because, like I said, most people don't look very far in front of them, and you need to look around that corner, because there may be a car parked there, and here it is, you're 50 miles an hour into a corner, and it's like, oh, how am I going to stop now? So you need to stop. That's a technique that we use in DOT driving also, is to look around and avoid accidents. If you can get LED replacement bulbs, like a headlight, brake light, and turn signals, they're brighter, they last longer, and they've seen a lot more. People gripe that they flash too fast, but they have now built-in circuitry inside them that will keep them at the same flash rate. So you need to look for that when you replace bulbs on older motorcycles and stuff. A technique I told my Goldwing group and about this idiot town is when you're at a red light that has turned green, if they're stopped, hey, you're okay. Pull on out. Don't pull out quickly. Don't pull out quickly from a green light. Don't do a drag race thing. And look, because in that idiot town I'm telling you about, like I said, there's one corner. I can watch 3 cars run a red light all the time, and that will save your life right there. Here is something that's going to amaze you and surprise you. People get themselves into accident situations and they have no idea what they're doing, that they've even done it. They'll be driving along and they're fixated on the car in front of them. Same speed, same turn, going through the turns and all, and they're just fixated on that front turn, on that car in front of them, and they'll just, one after the other will start following each other like that and get into that crowd mentality. Another bad name for it is sheeple. I've seen cars like that, and they'll be, this guy will, drift off the road and go into a ditch, and all of a sudden the car behind it, and there's all of a sudden there's 5 cars run off into the ditch. And the thing behind this is be an individual driver. Stay in your own lane. It's part of paying attention. And I've witnessed a lot of them doing it, being a DOT driver. They'll go off the road, ram into the ditch, or ram into the AMCO barriers and stuff like that. That's another drivers to get away from. Here's one that's important. Say you got a line of cars right here, and you're coming up to a stoplight. Sure as can be, one of them guys, you're just putting along up there, going to go up there to the light and stop. Somebody's going to jump out in front of you. No turn signals or nothing. You have to be super diligent on stuff like that. Where I was telling you about this, the 2 grooves in the lane, that's where I'll be in this other lane. So I have, I'm further away from them. And I have my thumb on that horn too. Be very cautious when you approach some situation like that. There's now dash cams for motorcycles. I put one on Goldwing, and I hid the thing in the trunk, and it had a camera out the front, camera out the back. They're put on a loop. You put a chip in them. Oh, it's an SD card, and they'll record over each other. And they don't take much electricity, and it's just another safety thing. To me, if somebody hurts me or provokes an accident, I'm going to take that card out and I'm going to make a video. I'm going to give it to the judge, and prove my case. Video is great proof of proving your case in court. So that's something you guys want to think about. Think about getting these little blind spot mirrors. They're little tiny mirrors that you'll put on the side of mirrors that'll get in your blind spots, because you'll find that there'll be cars that will stick into them areas very well, and you want to stop that. Your attitude. Yes, your attitude is playing, a big part of keeping you safe and from getting running over. I'm not telling you to get out there and be paranoid, but do these techniques that I've been telling you. I've had an idea for this article for about 3.5 years and been writing on it for probably 4 months now. And so a lot of work has gone into this, and a lot of you dig through your brain to come up with these ideas and stuff. And they're good techniques. And to be honest, I haven't heard of nobody talking about offensive driving for motorcycles. And that's why I wrote the article. I don't think they've published it yet. But I want to put this on YouTube also, because I'm going to start doing a lot more motorcycle videos. And this is great information. So anyhow, that's all I got for this article. So you guys have a good one, and we'll catch you on the next video.